Salutations, utopians. Hope all is well today. Um, Wanted to talk a little bit of association, NBA. Um, I was reading the news today and I was seeing that Dame Lillard was talking about uh, his expectations when he initially joined the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, there's an undertone of it being disappointed, already having gone through two coaches, Terry Stotts, Adrien Griffin. Now you got Doc Rivers trying to implement a system. I read the other day a story about Doc going through a bunch of tape prior to taking the job with the Milwaukee Bucks, and Doc was saying that um, when he was studying film, just to give you a perspective on how much this team is scrambling right now. There was he was watching tape of during the Adrien Griffin tenure, and there was a particular play he liked, and I don't know how he was able to keep a mental note of it, but there was a game situation in the fourth quarter. They were in situation mode, and he immediately turns to Joe Prunty, the interim head coach who was there during the administration of Adrien Griffin and also present for Doc Rivers, a holdover staff member. And he said, "What was that play?" And he had to ask him by describing the play as opposed to actually knowing the name. And then Prunty was able to communicate the play to the rest of the team. Um, just to show you in a microcosm how much they're scrambling right now. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit about this dynamic of running from the grind, so to speak. I won't run from the grind. Dame was in Portland. He's been there for over a decade. He was the city of Portland's darling, had a chance to be considered a lifer, and is what I would consider a disciple of the Kobe Bryant tree, the Mamba mentality. One of the people that he groomed. There's a big list of players that, or a select few list, Kyrie, Jamal, Buddy Hield, certain players that would really seek Kobe's guidance and mentorship, and Kobe was willingly always available to answer the phone. And Dame was one of those guys. And what happened in Portland is like what a lot of times often happens, what you see on TNT. People are telling Dame when he's having fun and making his supermax money in Portland, but you ain't got no rings. And you don't got no rings. You don't got no rings. This thing about rings all the time. And now you're listening to him, and all his family and friends are in Portland. There's no work-life balance. Pro sports has an opportunity to really teach everyday professionals the importance of that balance. Okay, so unfortunately, sadly, greatness involves poor work life balance. Okay, you got to go over the top, you got to go the extra mile. They have a saying, go the extra mile, nobody's there. And unfortunately, what that breeds is disdain, buyer's remorse, a lot of different things that are synonymous with the word regret. And Dame was in his mid-30s. He's never really been a threat in Portland to be a postseason championship contender. But his unwavering loyalty to a smaller market, though it's rich in history, dating back to its late 80s, early 90s era, was what made him the media darling. He's also one of the more underrated rappers slash ball players to ever rap. Him, Luke Will, there's a couple artists who are really good, but Dame has a lot of good songs, honestly, and he makes respectable music. So he has two-way appeal, crossover appeal, and he does it in a very humbling, not so flair kind of way. He does his talk through his performance with outlandish game-winning jump shots. And I just would like to see an end of this like ring talk, because you can be an entertaining team without winning championships, okay? Like I alluded to yesterday, had the Knicks not traded Obi Toppin and decided to move off Julius Randle, it would have been fine, because you're like, they're a fun, up-tempo young team, nucleus. But if you're going to keep Randle, then yes, you do need to go get OG. You do need to get a Bogdanovich. You do need to acquire a Precious Achua or Alex Burke. But to take it even further on a more commercial mainstream for the novice fan base of the NBA, the New Jersey Nets, Brooklyn Nets, both Nets teams I'm going to get to. D'Angelo Russell elects to go and D'Angelo Russell elects to come to somehow the Brooklyn Nets build a franchise with Kenny Atkinson and D'Angelo Russell, and so what ends up happening is they become an up-tempo team with Karis LeVert, Joe, the sharpshooter marksman. You had D'Lo, Karis LeVert, Joe, and they were a very good, fun, balanced, above the rim team. Jared Allen, and they decided to liquidate to go get Kyrie and KD, and all it did was become a media nightmare. Nobody looks at Lob City and says, oh, they didn't win a ring, so let's erase them from the history books. Nobody looks at the New Jersey Nets 04 team, I think it was, that went with Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, and Jason Kidd, made it to the finals. No one says, oh, that team wasn't fun because they lost in the finals. We need to normalize players spending a legacy where they're at. Pascal Siakam won a ring in Toronto. I know everyone wants to give credit to Kawhi, but this is what I was talking about at the trade when he got traded to Indiana. And for what? Are you going to win a ring? If he's not bringing a ring to Indiana, they should have just went and got Kuzma or something. Because he's won rings. He's been there all his career. It would have been great to be able to bear witness a guy say that he's a lifer, especially with such a young franchise like the Toronto Raptors, who haven't really been able to have the privilege of retiring numbers. And now you're going to probably still retire his number, but you have the visual of him on another team. Okay? And so when you see things like this happen, it makes it really tricky. You look at Trae Young, on the other hand, in Atlanta. I think he's under 25. First 5 years, he's already been to an Eastern Conference Finals. He's got playoff victories. However, that Hawks team looks like it's hit its peak. Furthermore, for the brand of basketball, Trae Young on a team like San Antonio with Wemby, or going to the Lakers and helping them orchestrate their next act post LeBron with AD, that's intriguing. Him in Hollywood is intriguing, being a guy who's under 6 feet. That marketability, that relatability, that makes sense. Not a guy in his mid-30s. It's like LeBron. If we're still talking about LeBron besides anything other than him having a father-son moment with Bronny after this season, what is he still running it up for at this point? It's like Emmitt Smith with the Cardinals. It's like, great, those extra yards you got to pass Walter Payton, I guess it's cool, but you were with the Cowboys. So going to the Cardinals and doing all that. So, it's just all perspective, but we need to eliminate this. And I know a lot of this culprit, the main culprit of this is old school NBA vets, because that's what they chose to do. So now everyone has to win a ring or their career meant nothing. The sooner we get rid of that toxicness, the sooner we can get the plastic out of the ocean. All right, utopians, love and light. I'll try to do better next time. Global, out.